Vámonos, muchachos! In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, let's talk about one of the great films of the 90s, a fantastically entertaining summer flick that is one of my childhood favorites. From TriStar Pictures, Beware, The Mask of Zorro. Released in 1998, starring the only man, in my opinion, that could play Zorro, Antonio Banderas. But first, he starts out as Alejandro, a petty scheming bandit who is driven by revenge after his dear bandit brother, Joaquin, played by Victor Rivers, is killed. But once he meets an elderly Zorro, played greatly and with honor by Sir Anthony Hopkins, he gets new training to hopefully defeat Captain Love, played by an annoying Matt LETSCHER, but also bring down an ultimate plan by the evil Don Rafael Montero, played by Stuart Wilson, and thus resurrecting Mexico's own superhero, Zorro. This iconic picture for millennials everywhere was first conceived in 1992 under TriStar and Steven Spielberg's production company, Amblin Entertainment, 52 years after the original film with Tyrone Power and the great Disney TV series in the 50s, as well as the early 1990s series starring one of my college professors, Michael Tylo. Rest in peace, good sir. Based on the famous pulp stories, Spielberg was slated to direct as well, with Andy Garcia starring. But as production delays kept continuing, the next in line was Robert Rodriguez. Hot off his success with Desperado with Banderas, now was Sean Connery slated to play Diego de la Vega, Hopkins' role. Due to budget negotiations, TriStar not meeting Rodriguez's wishes, Rodriguez dropped out, and then Martin Campbell, the amazing Martin Campbell, probably the best director of James Bond films such as GoldenEye and Casino Royale, signed on with Banderas, and Sir Anthony Hopkins replacing Connery 1 month before filming began. Side note, Campbell dropped out of directing Tomorrow Never Dies in favor of Zorro. Fantastically smart move, Campbell. Now, when you have the same screenwriters as Aladdin, Ted Elliott, and Terry Rossio, who would later write Shrek, you're already in good hands because they both know the power of balance between comedy and tragedy, but more importantly, these days, structure and payoffs. The film is so well structured and so well paced that after rewatching it myself, it's wonderful how every scene feels completely right and thread well together. I mean, we're talking about editor Tom Noble here, who won the Oscar for editing Witness, and the same man who still thread an engaging film out of Exorcist 3 and the director's cut from it, Legion. So he gets a great big for that one. Also, on that same note, all the subliminal touches, directorially and performance-wise, are just magical. Like Alejandro and Joaquin when they're kids, I don't know if it was their idea or in the script, to maybe even Marty Campbell's idea, but their little thing going with their arms is fun. It's their little thing, and we see it called back when they're adults after completing their scheme. God, I love payoffs. But let's talk about even that very beginning for a second. Spoilers, obviously, mi amigos, I can't hold back. But the very first measure of James Horner's phenomenal score with the and Martin Campbell gives Zorro a flippin' James Bond intro. It is, clearly. Walking in front of the camera, backlit, you hear the sound of his boots, whipping out his blade, carving a Z on screen, title card explosion, with oddly a leopard scream when it explodes on. Every explosion or flame of fire in this movie has a leopard scream. I don't understand that, actually. Apparently coming from Campbell, explosion sounds have animal sounds, but it's cool. I remember first seeing this film when it came out in theaters. Being 8 years old, I already had damn goosebumps. We have our prologue of what's happening in Mexico, which I love the fact that the film is shot completely on location in Mexico, with the horrendous government at the time oppressing the people. We have our great bout of Sir Anthony Hopkins playing the Masked Avenger at a younger age, obviously, which, okay, a lot of people give gripe about Sir Anthony Hopkins, an Oscar-winning, two-time Oscar-winning actor now, Welshman, playing a Spanish Avenger. And well, folks, yeah, these were still the days of having a well-known box office drawing star to carry these mentor-like characters, which Hopkins certainly was at the time. And you know what? He gives a damn good performance as Diego de la Vega. Do I want a multiverse where also originally Raul Julia was slated to play Diego? Hell flippin' yes, I do. Oh my God, Raul Julia would have been just perfect in this role. God, he would have been absolutely amazing. But sadly, yes, Julia passed away before the film was even greenlit. But with Hopkins in the role, he gives Diego a grand amount of passion, love, gravitas, and always a sense of fun. He adds well to the comedic bits when it works, and he holds his cards close to his chest to keep himself from completely crumbling every time he sees his daughter, Elena, played by the beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones, another Welsh actor, who was stolen from him when she was just a baby. We have two major plot devices going on here from our two Zorros, Hopkins and Banderas, that work significantly. How the both of them have sincere and wonderful chemistry. It's just so lovely to watch. We have a fantastic training sequence of a drunken, revenge-fueled, sloppy fighter working his way to becoming a brilliant swordsman. It's fantastic. And Antonio Banderas. Once again, there is no other actor who could play Zorro as amazing as Antonio Banderas in a Golden Globe-nominated performance, a role he was absolutely born to play. One major detail that both Banderas and Hopkins get completely right in accuracy from the magazine strips and the TV series was during the fencing scenes, how Zorro is smiling throughout them all, showing how frickin' fun it is to fence, how much fun he's having. And it's like Superman, where Zorro absolutely loves what he does. He loves saving and defending his people. And he for sure loves some sexy swordplay, like that barn scene with Banderas and Zeta-Jones. Holy shit, people. Okay, so as I've rewatched this film many times in my life with the VHS, thank you so much, how I have rewound and watched this scene multiple times is totally unreal. Some people have said that this scene should be canceled because it shows Zorro in a predatory fashion of slashing her clothes off, but it's like, come on, people. Look at her face. And look at Elena all the way up to this point. She gets excited by danger. As much as a ruffian Alejandro, not necessarily Zorro, is in this scene, even though Zorro translates to fox. So Zorro is sly as a fox. And they end up falling in love with each other. So stop it with the damn cancel culture. God! Anyway, you talk about incredible swordplay, incredible fight choreography from fencing legend Bob Anderson, who actually instructed Errol Flynn. And Anderson said Banderas showed the greatest natural talent for fencing, even more than Flynn. Certainly helped that Banderas had fencing training for 3 months before filming, and explains why Banderas, the badass that he is, wanted to do his own stunts. And he achieves that with such excellence that as I look at it again and again, it gives such a wow factor. Being Banderas, he absolutely doesn't hold back from the comedy. Oh my God, when he's funny, he is funny as hell. And when he's listening, he is really listening, giving the dramatic scene such depth, such as the scene where he has earned the trust of Don Rafael to get in on the major plot of the California transition. And he has that meeting with Captain Love, and Love brings out the jars of his brother's head along with Jack's fingers, marinating in alcohol. His reactions are so truthful and so strong, and that actually was a real thing for the character of Captain Love. A real-life captain who was the head of the first statewide law enforcement group, the California Rangers, and preserved famous bandit Joaquin Murrieta's head and Jack's fingers in alcohol. You're a sick man, Captain Love. Some young kids, and myself included, may think the film is too dialogue-heavy and not enough action, but once the action scenes kick in, oh boy, they never disappoint. Campbell always knew how to film action, and that's why the pace of it works wonderfully. The performance is all around spectacular, even though majority of them are not Mexican. I know. Catherine Zeta-Jones totally exploded onto the scene, not only with how beautiful she is, but how amazing she is with creating a government daughter filled with class and passion that can hold her own, has a great amount of feistiness to her as well. LQ-Jones popping in here as the three-fingered Jack, shot beautifully by Phil Mayhew, who also did the cinematography for GoldenEye, with a climax so damn good and tense. The production design on that mine is incredible. Antonio pulling the crazy, miraculous, shining glare effect on the sword, which took only a few takes, with no laser or computer effects at all. That's all Antonio in camera with the help of the sun. Incredible. One of the greatest bad guy deaths ever, spoiler, sorry, with a loving and fitting epilogue of Alejandro telling his baby boy tales of Zorro, with his loving wife, Elena, shaking her head, exquisitely bookending the film with what was presented in the beginning, with Diego telling baby Elena the same stories of Zorro, carrying on the legacy of Mexico's greatest legend and hero. It can't be a 90s classic without an end credit sequence with an R&B pop song, am I right? This time with the original song composed by Horner with his theme of Zorro.
I want to spend my lifetime loving you.
Sung by Mark Anthony and Tina Arena, which is such a catchy-ass song. I'm sure the studio was hoping it would be another gigantic and iconic hit like Horner's other great masterpiece of a score and song, My Heart Will Go On. I just can't do it justice, I'm sorry. From Titanic, which came out just the year before. The film itself was a fantastic success, resulting in a box office reward of $250 million over its $95 million budget. 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Sound. And with the phenomenal sword clang sounds, so well deserved. I honestly think James Horner's score should have been nominated too, for Horner said he always wanted to do a Western, and this was his grand chance, excelling superbly. I do listen to his score for this film quite often. Folks, is it obvious enough how much I freaking love this film? 1, because, yes, the sincere nostalgia factor, and 2, because it is such a damn well-made film. Rated PG-13, absolutely fun for all ages, invigorating, exciting, capturing the essence perfectly of a swashbuckling classic that should live on for generations, like Zorro. All in all, I give The Mask of Zorro an A-. Do I want more action scenes? Yeah. Less dialogue? Sure. But at the end of the day, folks, you have a classic that you'll want to watch again and again. Dress up like Zorro, like I did in this sad attempt when I was just a kid. I just didn't have the proper attire. What can I say? I was truly obsessed with Zorro, and you know what? Not much has changed. But this film is regarded, still to this day, one of the great action summer blockbusters, great swashbuckling classics, is still the best Zorro film ever made. So, The Mask of Zorro. Have you seen it? If you haven't, where the hell have you been? If you have, okay, we're amigos again. But like, comment, share with all your friends, keep the comments coming, and if you have certain requests, drop me a line. But all requests are confirmed on Patreon when you subscribe, of course. Muchas gracias, mi amigos y mi amigas. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. And now,
if you will excuse me, I'm missing my own party.